had
So
skills.
like, yeah, so there was a guy who like actually knew how to work a camera, at least on the set.
Yeah, like, dude, when you look at the credits on Letterboxd, I don't think there's any other name except for Danzig.
No, I mean,
Besides the
if
actor.
you watch it, if you actually watch the credits, there are a bunch of names in it. But I was watching it because I was seriously like, did he? Obviously, he didn't have a script supervisor because there's very little consistency on a scene to scene basis, both in continuity and even certain things like line pronunciation.
Oh my God.
We should mention that this film is 3 different half-hour long short films stitched together as some sort of like anthology of horror.
Yeah.
And the entire thing is based on a comic book series that I guess Danzig also bankrolls and maybe is creatively involved in.
I thought he wrote it, but maybe I'm
he
wrong.
might write it too, but it's called Verotic, which, if you haven't figured it out yet, think of 2 words: violent and erotic.
Yep.
That's the level of cleverness that we are dealing with here.
And he hires, it seems, nothing but porn stars who have apparently the same level of acting, whether they're about to have sex or in an actual scene.
Yes, basically. And one thing I was going to mention is that there's one in the final third one, which is where he seemed like he had the most budget. It seemed like they shot that one first. And then they were kind of like, oh shit, we still have like.
Are you talking about the one with the giant Spider-Man?
Yeah, well, because no, in the fantasy one, in the final third of the film.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, there's like more budget to it. Like some of the gore effects are a little bit more impressive, and some of like the sets of like the castles and like the medieval stuff.
Yeah,
like
even
the fantasy elements kind of work.
Slightly better. It's still pretty fucking awful, but it's like it's a little more forgivable.
Well, it seems like that one was like, I mean, I guess because they had to use natural lighting shooting outside, and like they did a little bit of color correction on it, so like some of the footage isn't as bad as like the first one, which has just
the
some
greens and
unbelievable,
purples are so just
so garish and overlit, and
just it's awful. It's so flat and there's no depth to anything that and it's weird too because the lighting that he's going for is this lighting that I always fucking just eat up and love, right? Which is that dark neon bar thing and it's just so poorly done.
Looks
I've
like
never
shit.
seen it worse than this. Like it made me not like it for a movie.
Yeah, so we have porno grade acting, we have no consistency at all in honestly on a line to line basis. And also Danzig is the writer, so like what's coming out of their mouths is just like nonsense.
I will say this: the cops, they got me every time. The bald cop was on screen. He is so funny, and his like I think he kind of knew that he was in this piece of shit because the way that he hams it up in comparison to everyone else, I don't know. It gave me a different vibe than every other character. He is just. The dialogue that he gets is the most cliched cop stuff. And what's so weird too is that scene where he sees the first body. They have a whole conversation about the motive, and then they say that joke where he's like, "Yep, I've figured out the motive. She wanted her face," and that line is kind of funny to be honest, just because it's so fucking stupid.
Well, and one thing is funny is because in that one. Because I think this is the second chapter, which is very literal monsters he's dealing with here because Danzig is so creative. The first one, it's Le Neckbreaker, which for some reason it's in French, and nobody is a French actor. So like it's just a bunch of American porno actors doing terrible French accents in English, which is really bad. But the second one is The Face Collector. And it opens with like a slasher killer scene where they were like,
it's so bad.
Comes up and it's like, I am here for your face. And she's like, my face? What do you want with my face? As if like finding out what she wanted with the face means that she would like give it over or something.
Yeah.
But then she says, if you won't give it to me, I'll have to take it. And then following that scene, which is just, a killer pulling off a woman's face, they go to a strip club where there is 2 whole full-length songs of Glenn Danzig's songs playing on the strip club to footage of strippers just stripping. And that's the entire scene.
And I know that he
and
was.
Then,
I think he had this vibe. Like I'm trying the whole time after I watched the first half hour, knew what this was. The whole time I was trying to get into his headspace because I was just like, "What are you thinking while you're doing this shit?" And so the stripper scene, I was thinking like maybe he was super proud of the score that he came up with, and he thought that like just gave such a vibe and an aesthetic to the film. So he thought maybe doing these long shots on these strippers was kind of setting a tone, and he was, you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to like get it deeper than just like he sat there and jerked off behind the camera, you know, because that's, if you don't think anything else, then that's what you're gonna go to. Because and I said this in my review, the motherfucker should have made a porno because we all would have had a better time.
Yeah, no, well, I mean, definitely the majority of making this film, it's even in the name, erotica, was literally just stuff that, like, makes him horny.
Yeah.
And he was like, but also, if I do it in a genre context, like, people won't say anything about it. Because, like,
then
genre
I'm not
movies
a
are
perv.
already, like, lurid. Yeah, like, and I'm
Just
like,
make
dude.
a porn, man. You like, and here's the like, if he made a porn, then that would have negated that whole thing. Like, yeah, you are still, I guess, a perv. You're making porn or whatever, but no one would have. Like, the fact that he didn't make a porn is almost grosser. You know what I'm saying? Like, do you feel that?
No, definitely, and it would have made the acting like fit in.
Yeah,
It would have made like when